It's me again.
Hello and welcome everybody. This is JPS Football. Welcome to our NFC North predictions show. Thank you for listening. Let's dive right into it. Rich, your look's a little different, man.
I didn't become a Packer fan during the break, I promise. This is for my late father. Got to represent my dad's team because he's not here to do it. I'm wearing my dad's Brett Favre jersey, my dad's old Packer hat. As you can imagine, I'm picking the Green Bay Packers to win this division.
Yeah, I mean, let's get the big dogs out of the way up front. It's got to be the Packers, right?
There's only one dog in this division, and I think that dog's going to be the reason why Tampa's not repeating.
Bold. So you're telling me the Packers get revenge from last year's championship game?
They get revenge from last year's championship game, and I think Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay on the highest of high notes.
It'd be quite a story given all the drama that unfolded, and of course, if you're a regular listener of our show, you've seen that we've spoken on that issue a few times, and of course in our fan focus series with Mr. Olsen we talked about Aaron Rodgers. So if you haven't already, check out that show, hear about John Olsen's very cool backstory, how he became a Packers fan, a little history about the team, and of course his thoughts on the Aaron Rodgers saga. Now, my question to you is, you're predicting a return to the Super Bowl for Aaron Rodgers. You don't think all that nonsense in the offseason had a negative impact? Or I know we talked through it, but now we seem to be still liking them to win the North and the NFC.
Well, I mean, there's been an air of negativity around him in the front office the last 2 years. And despite that, both years they were only one game away from the bowl. They've clearly been outclassed in both games. Not quite as bad as 2 years ago when the Niners rolled on them. Last year they had their chances. They didn't get it done. They had 3 consecutive Brady turnovers and did not get it done. I take a big part of that game on what went wrong was the injury to David Bakhtiari. He wasn't available, and that's where the majority of the heat, where Rodgers was having to get rid of the ball quick and just messing up his clock, his timing. Now, fast forward to this year, he gets back one of his favorite teammates in the form of Randall Cobb, a guy who was able to get out of Houston. Good for him. I do like Robert Tonyan in year 2 to approach the top 10 tight ends for fantasy. I think he's going to thrive in that offense. I love Aaron Jones as a top 5 running back. A.J. Dillon is going to be more a part of that offense this year as a 1-2 punch. And in my opinion, they're led by one of the best defensive backs on the other side of the ball in Jair Alexander. I like what they do on defense. They don't necessarily have that star power like some of the other defenses around the league where everybody's like a name that you know. But I do think Green Bay's trending upward for a potential Super Bowl. And, you know, despite being outcoached in the NFC title game last year, you got to give Matt LaFleur one thing that gets overlooked rather quickly. He's only been the Packers coach for 2 years, and he has the best winning percentage of any head coach in Packer history. And when you think about the guys on that list, Mike Holmgren, Mike McCarthy,
size,
Vince Lombardi, Curly Lambeau, the point I'm making, it's a hell of a start. Some of the greatest of all time haven't had those kind of starts, and history has proven when you get off to those kind of starts for more than just one fluky season, it usually means a pretty good tenure. I like the Packers to be the 1 seed in the NFC. I got them going 13-4 and possibly, likely 6-0 in the NFC North.
So what makes the difference this year? What puts them over the top? They were damn close 2 years in a row. Closer last year even. I
think Randall Cobb brings a dimension to the offense that was much needed. I think he gives a legitimate veteran relief opposite of Devontae Adams. Mm-hmm. And I do think between Alan Lazard and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I think that they have just enough on offense. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, and he will make mediocre receivers look damn good and good receivers look damn great. Now, Devontae Adams is great. I expect him to once again be among the leaders all around the board in receiving stats. Aaron Jones does both. He can catch the ball. He's a hell of a rusher. He reminds me of like the version if there's a poor man's Kamara out there. And this is not a knock on Aaron Jones. This is a big up to how good Alvin Kamara is. But I really do like Aaron Jones. I was a little surprised that he didn't take more money. He wanted to come back to Green Bay. This is the last show, and I think they're all going to buy in because even with a Super Bowl victory, I still think Aaron Rodgers is moving on to different pastures. And Davante Adams is not going to commit to any more years with Green Bay unless if Rodgers stays. So I feel that Davante Adams may also be approaching the end of his line in Green Bay. Randall Cobb's approaching the end of the line of his career. I think these guys are going to buy in for the bigger cause, which is winning. And I think this might actually be their year because many felt that last year should have been.
All right, so that's a lot on the Packers. Let's go through the rest of the division. I don't think either of us are too high on any of these teams, but we will acknowledge that they exist. Especially up there in Minnesota. How you feeling about the Vikings there, pal?
Not that great. If they had a more reliable quarterback, I would have them threatening Green Bay, but they don't.
What are you talking about? Chris Cousins is the definition of reliable. He is reliably mediocre.
Reliably mediocre. The man throws too many picks. Untimely turnovers. Doesn't show up in big games. I don't get it. He has so much weaponry in Minnesota, and he actually played better when he was a member of Washington when he didn't have nearly the amount of weapons. I will never understand that one. He's got Justin Jefferson. He's got Dalvin Cook, top 5 running back. He's got Adam Thielen, probably a top 2 or 3 number 2 receiver, considering that Jefferson's the man over there now. I do like the Dalvin Tomlinson pickup. As a Giant fan, I was very irked that they let him walk. He's a damn good player. And then to go to Minnesota kind of gave me the bad flashback of losing Linval Joseph. But I'm sorry. I just don't think that highly of this team. They have the talent, but I don't think they have the leadership nor the coaching nor the approach. I got this team going 7-10.
7-10. All right. I can't argue with that. Let's move it over to Chicago. And how do we think they... What do you make of Chicago? They seem like the most chaotic team the last couple of years, and most of it stems around the quarterback. They seem to have a long-term future with Justin Fields. When does that future start? Because they still got so much capital tied up in those previous moves.
No later than week 6, I would have to think. Once again, they got him off a trade that my team made. So as a fan of my team, I want them to fucking suck. I want them to go like 3-14. I don't think they'll be that bad. I got them going 6-11. 6-11. I still like their defense. Their defense keeps them in most games. Andy Dalton, as you know, being a Cowboy fan, is certainly not the answer, but you could do worse. He's a veteran. Justin Fields will be a good quarterback in this league, but he's going to suffer when he gets in there in year 1. It's going to be a big learning curve for the young man. In time, I do think he's going to have a nice career. I was kind of blown away that Matt Nagy even chose to go with Andy Dalton. I think at this juncture, you just got to let the kid play. That's your future. He had a good preseason, better than Dalton. But the one bright spot that you can bank on when you're looking for true consistency, I would have to say, is running back David Montgomery. Because while Allen Robinson doesn't want to be there, but still a damn good receiver, I'm not convinced that they have the right quarterback to get that guy involved where he can really excel. And that's part of the reason why I've got these dudes going only 6-11. I see them getting swept by Green Bay. They always seem to split with the Vikings. And they'll probably split with the Lions. I just do not think very highly of them. And a little stat for you, or just a fact. It's not even a stat. They are number 2 all-time in championships, but yet have only won 1 Lombardi. And through all this, I think the most intriguing thing about this team is that I've been alive for 40 years. This team has never had a franchise quarterback. Do you realize that in the Lombardi era, you can make a case that Jay Cutler is the greatest quarterback in post-merger Bears history?
Don't sleep on Rex Grossman. Took him to a Super Bowl, bro.
Well, Jim McMahon's the only guy who won, but I mean, That was
yeah.
I mean, come on, dude. Like,
hell of a dancer.
how can you not get a quarterback all these years?
It seems like, we talked about this at the time. Justin Fields might be the real deal, and to break that sort of silly Ohio State quarterback curse
I couldn't
that
imagine all those years never having a franchise quarterback. That's crazy.
Well, and it tells you a lot about why they've had limited success.
I'm gonna start calling them the Chicago Browns. Oh.
Anywho, let's finish up at the bottom.
Sorry, Holly, your team sucks.
Yeah, the Lions. Let's talk about the Lions. They're big.
We have to.
Probably the biggest move would be their acquisition of Jared Goff and the loss of Matthew Stafford. To me, it's a downgrade.
Yeah.
Goff is consistently unreliable. He's been among the best briefly, kind of.
What do you mean? He scored 3 points in the Super Bowl. I mean, he didn't kick him through the post, but he set his team up to get 3 points in the Super Bowl.
But he did take him there, and he had a hell of a year.
He did. That he did. I'm not going to take that away.
But I err on the side of, no, who we saw around that season is who that quarterback is. He's got some tools. He's got athletic potential enough to be an NFL quarterback. I think he's missing it upstairs. He doesn't see the game well enough. And with a coach like Sean McVay, like laying out everything in detail, and he still couldn't get it, they're done, and he's been
I
sent
feel
to purgatory.
bad for Dan Campbell in that role. I think he's in for a very rough season. Former Lions coach Matt Patricia, that was his first gig as a head coach, and he ended up back in New England now with Bill Belichick. A lot of guys do go back home when they fail as head coaches, and he's an example of that. But the only real upside on this whole team that I see is TJ Hawkinson. I think he's a hell of a tight end, especially in an offense that doesn't really have much to offer. I think he's going to have an excellent year, week in, week out, regardless of the results. This team can't stop a nosebleed on defense. Their O-line is average at best. I think Goff's going to take a beating. I think the only guy that's going to really benefit from what they have is the tight end, because he's really all they have. Rough season. I'm giving them a 4-13 mark.
And they'll likely be in competition for the number one pick.
Good possibility.
So, sorry for my Detroit fans. I don't even know if I know any of you.
I knew one, literally one.
So that's it. We'll wrap up the NFC North by saying it's the Packers to lose. Just like, I hate to agree with all the experts, but sometimes it's a pretty obvious call.
I'm confused about something here. I just got to say this.
Yeah.
As I said, this is my late father's Packer garb. My dad did not have a small head, but why is this hat so damn tight?
They have the steroids, pal. Alrighty. Until next time, we will...
Sorry, Pop.
Check out our other shows. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, any of those social things, and we will give you some more of this wonderful football-based content. Thanks for listening.